Hey guys, team on the grind here. I am HT19 back from RBTLA, and what I want to show off here today is the winning deck list. Go through a little bit more theory, a little bit more card ratios and choices, and kind of what things are for. Go check out my channel as well, HT19 Yu-Gi-Oh! Right there, I give all my shoutouts. As well as go into more detail onto specifically the legacies and jars of greeds. So if you want information on that, check that out, as well as check that out for all the shoutouts. So yeah, let's get started with the profile. First, we'll go with, I guess what I want to say is I kind of wanted to approach this as a, with an advanced format mentality. And that's kind of how I landed on a lot of these ratios. So in advanced format, what you do is like you play 3 of like basically all the cards you want to open. So that's kind of what I did here. So we started off with 3 Sirocco, 3 Shura, 3 Bora, 3 Kalute. So these are kind of like cards that you kind of always want to see. And then we reduced Blizzard to 2. And then this card's limited, and then values basically a Garnet, so we only play 1 of that. We did reduce Blizzard to 2 because, I mean, this card's still really, really good, but it's kind of like one of those cards where you kind of want to see it like turn 2 or 3, and also you can search it off Whirlwind, so you should see this enough. And especially with the draw cards, you will see it enough, and realistically, you don't need anything after the second Blizzard. So that's kind of the theory behind that. Again, this is limited, Gale, so yeah, Gale's limited, and like I said, this is a Garnet. You never really want to draw this unless you're playing like something like Hybrid Wings, where you have a discard outlet like Dark Gruffer. Next, oh, and also for those of you guys that are wondering, I love the O.G. Rare Gale First Ed. So even though it's not technically the highest rarity. Same thing with the Blizzards. OG, rarity, first ed. Even though they're not technically the highest rarities, these are my rarities of preference, and I think it suits the deck perfectly. And in case people were wondering over here as well, these are dual terminals, not just regular commons. So next, we got the Gores, which is kind of a unique... not too unique, but you don't really see it usually in Blackwing decks. But I do play it because of the draw cards, because you could just kind of like cheese this guy out, you know. So I played the Gores. And then last but not least, it was Father's Day weekend, so shout out to Dad. Alright, next for the spells, 2 Whirlwind, 1 Allure, 1 Brain, 1 Heavy, 1 Giant Tornado. I'm not main decking MST. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything notable that I'm missing in the spells. But I decided to play Giant Tornado, especially game 1, just because I felt like I said, this deck you're kind of like setting multiple back rows, which kind of incentivizes your opponent to start doing the same. And MST is not going to cut in those situations. So what you want to do is kind of just clear the back rows and then like start playing from there. These kind of achieve a similar purpose, the Icarus attacks, where like if your opponent sets multiple back row because you're setting multiple back row, you could all of a sudden start. You're never gonna like go negative on this card. You're always gonna 2 for 1 or even going 1 for 1 with this card is always pretty good depending on the situation. Next we got Double Bottomless, Double D Prison, Mirror Force, Royal Oppression, Trap Dust Shoot, and then Triple Legacy, Triple Jar of Greed. A lot of these are kind of staples, pretty regular ratios. The only thing you don't see that is usually mained is maybe something like Solemn Judgment and like the occasional Torrential that is mained. Both of those are in my side deck though. So yeah, but this is the main deck. Again, if you want more detailed explanation on this, go to my channel. I do go into very good detail on how these cards work. I mean, I guess one thing that you guys actually did hear it in this video that you didn't hear in the other video is kind of how these work with cards like this, or like these specifically. So that's a little something for that. But yeah, that's the main deck. You can go to the side or extra deck and then side deck. So the extra deck is almost pretty much standard. There was one thing that I did change in the extra deck kind of last minute at the airport. And that was thanks to AJTBLS, because he's been grinding the Blackwing deck, and I asked him basically, do you ever go into a second Armor Master? And he said that he doesn't. Or like, no, I asked him how frequently does the second Armor Master come up, and he said literally never. So I was like, all right, I'm cutting the Armor Master. I'm throwing the Thought Ruler Archfiend in the deck, in the extra deck, which I haven't played in Blackwings in such a long time. So aside from that, everything else is very standard. So 2 Armed Wing, 1 Armor Master, 1 Silver Wind, 1 Catastor, 1 Magical Android, 1 Brio, 1 Goyo, 1 Black Rose, 1 Stardust, 1 Dark End, 1 Thought Ruler, 1 Colossal, 1 Mistworm, and 1 Chimera Tech. And in case you were wondering, kind of like what was the thought process, like I always wanted to play, like I never know which one of these is the correct cards. It's like if you're not playing Cyber Dragon, obviously like you have that whole extra slot there. But since I am siding a copy of Cyber Dragon, you do have to play this. But it's always like a pick and choose between these two usually. Until I realized AJTBLS topped YCS Indie with only 1 Armor Master. So I asked him, how did the second Armor Master, like, did you ever miss it? And he said no. So thanks to him, we ended up with this. And same as him, I never ended up missing the second Armor Master. I think that kind of mainly comes up more in deck lists that play more than 1 value. So that might be why me and him don't struggle with that specific problem. Next, for the side deck, Cyber Dragon. You kind of put this in against a lot of stuff. For example, like I put it in against the Mirror, Heroes, Fairies, anything that can side and consecrate against you. Play that against obviously Machines to make Chimera Tech. But yeah, it's just a really good card. Only 1 copy though, because I mean I've been playing 2 for a long time. I didn't need to make extra room in the side deck for other stuff, so I had to reduce this to 1. However, it also was pretty beneficial because oftentimes you're just sitting in a hand with multiple either Cyber Dragons and Sirocco's and a monster on the field, and that's kind of awkward. So playing only 1 of this was definitely the correct choice. Next, 2 DD Crow, Soul Release, for like Hero Frogs and forget what else. Amaryllis Burn, Light Sworns. This used to be my side deck as well against Value Turbo. However, I did change my side deck pattern for Value Turbo just because I was having trouble with that matchup for whatever reason. Even against like players who are not known to play Value Turbo, I would still struggle against them. Like they would, but so I had to change my plan for Value Turbo. But before it used to be this. Now I still keep it in here for, like I said, those other matchups that it still was working good in, and the other pattern wasn't really like as effective than this was against those. But yeah, we'll get to that last on what I did. MST, Dust Tornado. You could put these in kind of as games 2 and 3. It's because I do play some Floodgates, and you could start like end phasing Dust Tornado or MSTing the back row that they just set, just because if your Floodgate kind of like stays on the field, they either don't have the out or they have to like set the out like Dust Tornadoes, because like most decks are citing 2 to 3 copies of this card against me. Yeah, I just kind of want to hit their Dust Tornado before they could hit my Floodgate. But also, like, I play this obviously for the mirror match to get rid of Whirlwind, so I definitely needed to add this. Before I wasn't playing this, but I definitely needed to added in there. Like I was doing stuff like 7 tools instead, and I still like 7 tools. However, like I wanted to go for like better counter traps, so I decided to play Dark Bribe and Solemn Judgment. I used to play 2 7 tools before this, and they would work great until I get like something like Heavy Storm or like Brain Control or something. So I needed something that was just more versatile, and I landed on these 2 cards, and they both performed really, really well for me. Next, I am siding Torrential, and actually I would not ever play this if it wasn't for what I have to do to side deck against Value Turbo. And I also cut deck dev, so this also works against like Hero Frogs, and you can make their dupes miss timing that way too. So also still works in that case because I had to cut deck dev for this essentially. And one thing that I remember Keegan asking, oh yeah, that reminds me, I do have to go over my matchups as well. He didn't play deck dev, he must have dodged fairies. I actually did play against the guy who got top 16 with fairies in round 2, and I beat him. So deck dev is not necessary to beat those awkward decks because your deck is just better. So we will come back on this in a second. Next, the second oppression for like those crazy combo decks. Skill Drain, this is one of the floodgates that we play. I do side descend against Value Turbo, as well as like frogs, and like it's just kind of randomly good against like a lot of stuff. So you never know when this will be a good option. So next, the tech. Or I guess not even a tech anymore. It's the new staple of the format in everyone's side deck. Transmigration Prophecy. Shout out Sack Phase for putting this card on the map. I've been loving this card. Not only is it really good in theory, it's really good in practice. It turns like specifically against Value Turbo as well. Like you're not banishing them with like DD Crow, because like DD Crow fuels their return, it fuels their burial. This puts it back in the deck, so it just completely shuts it off, and also it gets rid of 2 cards. Usually DD Crow is it's not a 1-for-1. It's usually like a 1 for a 0.5, because like they still have another piece in the graveyard for that value. So this is a lot better, and I'm glad with this decision. And then the last thing for specifically Value Turbo is 3 Imperial Narwhal. This has been working really good in playtesting. It has reduced the number of games I lose against Value Turbo. I still think I struggle a little bit with Value Turbo, but this just narrowed the gap enough where out of the 3 Value Turbo players I played, I beat 2 out of the 3. And that's all I could ask for. It's like try to play not that many Value Turbo players. I mean, I still played a decent amount, like 3 out of 12 rounds. That's a quarter of the tournament or a third of the tournament. A quarter of the tournament that I played. But yeah, like I said, I just needed to change what I was doing against that deck, and this card's been really good because it shuts off not just their Value, not just their Necro Guard, but it also shuts off their Bottomlesses and their Deep Prisons and their Caiuses, and that as well. Their Burial is never going to be live. Their Return is never going to be live. This card has been really, really good in testing, and this card straight up won me one of my rounds by itself. But yeah, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I have to side in this as well, because if I'm playing this, I actually do side out all my Bottomlesses and Deep Prisons, because I mean that's kind of just what you have to do. And yeah, same thing. It's like when I side these in, I pretty much put these so that way I could preemptively hit their Dust Tornadoes or like negate them when they try to out it. But yeah, let me go over my matchups really quick. Let me pull that up. All right. So, day 1, round 1. I go up against really, really sweaty opponents, basically. Not like physically sweaty, even though it was really hot in the venue itself. And He might have been actually sweaty because like I was kind of sweating at some point too. But his deck was just really sweaty, and by that I mean it was an kind of like a O.T.G deck. It was Jinzo O.T.G, and if it those for of you that know or may not know might be finding out. In Orlando, I played against another sweaty deck. I played against someone playing combo frogs, but instead of ending on frogs, instead of ending on like Stardust and Colossal Fighter O.T.G stuff, he was drawing for Exodia, and I lost to him. So I was like, no, not a repeat of that, because against this Jinzo O.T.G deck, I actually lost game one really, really fast. And I mean, like I said, I started to sweat because I was like, no, not again. But thankfully, he did not draw as well games 2 and 3, and we ended up coming up with the win. And from there, everything snowballed. And then my next round, round 2, I played against Fairy. As I mentioned earlier, it's the guy who got top 16 as well. Shout out to him. Check out his profile on E3's channel. I think it was really good. And really actually teched out to beat my deck Blackwings. I gotten really good at playing against fairies thanks to Connor White, who used to play it, and I learned how to beat the matchup, even without, like I said, a card like Deck Dev. Next, I played against Blackwings, round 3. I'm still waiting for those. There was like a lot of rounds where at table 1 that were also recorded, and they're going to be posted on a different YouTube channel. I'm still waiting for those. That was one of them. Round 4, I played against Vayu. That was a round where this card, Imperial Iron Wall, came really, really clutch and straight up won me that game, or that match. I 2-0'd my opponent, and yeah, I mean, this card was super clutch. I think I negated or dust tornado one of his outs to it, and then the second time he tried to out this, I had the second one. So it was basically lights out because he couldn't do anything. The next round was a feature match on the RBET channel at E3. It was against Vayu. I lost that one. I got owned on that one. I got creamed. I felt like it was kind of just he drew like the right cards for what I had. The second game he had Dad, and really can't do anything against Dad. Also again, shout out to Father's Day, Dad. After that, I played against another Blackwing Mirror. This one was a little bit less memorable. Oh no, wait. I think I lost round 1. Game 1, I mean. Yeah, I lost game 1 and then ended up getting the last 2. So this was kind of like tough because like I was just on the feature. I lost the feature, and then I go into round 6. I lose game 1, and I'm like, is it really gonna end here? But thankfully we brought it back. It's all about having a strong mentality and not letting things like that get to you. Next, after that, round 7, I played against Amaryllis Burn. That was a really, really close match. Well, it was fake close because I got him pretty good game 1. Game 2, I was almost coming back. The thing was, game 2 took a really long time. So game 3 was about to go into time. I think we had like maybe like 5 or 6, probably like 5 minutes or less when we started game 3. However, I opened up really well, and game 3 was a blowout, essentially. So that was that. He also top 8'd. And I think his deck list was really good, and he was a really good player too, so shout out to him. And then the last round, I was also in the feature match. It was against a Cat Synchro deck. At this point of the day, me and my opponent, if you guys go look at that feature match, something felt kind of weird about my opponent. People were saying like, oh, this guy's terrible. I don't think he's terrible. He was actually just kind of checked out. And also, we were both already kind of guaranteed to top. I was like 95% sure we both top no matter the result. So that's when he kind of just like shut his brain off, and our game was kind of weird. But I do not think he was a bad player. He had to be a good player. If not, he would not have been in the position he was in. So yeah, shout out to him. His name was Roberto. I remember him. We had a really good chat in after that match, especially since it was the last round. So next, for Day two, I kind of was always like saying like day two is just 4 rounds. It's just like winning a local. So I went into day two like literally with the mentality I'm going into locals. All I have to do is win 4 in a row, and I win a local. So I already knew what I was gonna play in the first round or top 16. Because I mean standings are out. You kind of always know like first place, last, and all of that. And I knew who my opponent was gonna be, and I was gonna like look it up anyway. Through like feature matches and stuff, but I ended up rooming with Keegan E3, and he had like the list of what everyone was playing. So I just looked at what my opponent was playing. I didn't care what anyone else was playing. To be honest, like I just wanted to know what my first round opponent was playing, and then I kind of like figure out who else is playing what, when I was like sitting down and whatnot. But yeah, I really wanted to know what my first round opponent was playing, and he was playing Twilight Lightsworn, and this was a matchup that is very, very scary just because it is so unpredictable. Like, I mean, if anyone, I'm sure everyone's played against Lightsworn that has played Edison or other formats, and you know you could just get sacked, steamrolled by that deck. And also, that deck side decks Royal Decree, and that card's gonna actually gonna come up later for our top 4 match. But that card could just be lights out as well. Like it's either like they mill Wolf and you're out of it, or like they mill a couple Lightsworn names for Garroth, or they bomb JD, and so much could go wrong in that matchup. So I was really, really scared. I got really, really lucky. So me and my opponent were sitting down, and we were in the middle of getting deck checked, and then he randomly decides to like double check his deck list on his phone. He's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna double check it," and he's like, "Oh my god, I messed up." And I'm like, low-key, I'm like, kind of like, all right, this is something. And he did mess up. There was an issue in his deck list, and he ended up getting game 1 loss, and then for game 2, I just got down because I mean no Royal Decree to worry about. So yeah, I mean I was just very, very lucky, and I was yeah, like that was the best case scenario that could have happened for that. I mean unfortunately for my opponent, he was a really cool guy. I got his deck profile. It's on my channel, HT19 Yu-Gi-Oh, if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, unfortunate for him, but very, very lucky for me. Next round I play against Blackwings. It was a pretty one-sided match. I'm sure that match is going to be up in that other YouTube channel as well. I don't know. I forget the name of it, but if you guys look for it or ask around for it, it will be up eventually. And then round 3, or not round 3, but top 4 now. This is... I mentioned Royal Decree just a second ago. I played against Vayu Turbo. I did not know that there was a Vayu Turbo list that had just topped like a week or two ago, doing this strategy where they side deck Royal Decree. I lose game 1. Game 2, I am staring down a Royal Decree with 2 trap cards set, and then 1 in hand, and then I think I ended up drawing another one sometime down the road. How I won this game was very miraculous. I remember I poked him for a little bit of damage, but I needed to really like kill him before he ended up seeing like any of his like combo pieces. So how I killed him was I had Sirocco, Bora. I Sirocco pumped Bora, and then I tributed my Sirocco for another Sirocco pump Bora. He had a set back row. I had to hope that was not a hamster. It was a Vayu. I attacked him. That was game. Game 3, I had to change my side deck pattern. Because remember, my side deck pattern is this. I had to change my side deck pattern. I had to go back to these. And like thankfully, like it just ended up working out. I got game 3. He did not see his decrees that game. I didn't see the DD Crows either, but like I knew like in that situation, I cannot play this anymore. I had to revert back to my side deck pattern, and essentially how you can like determine which version of the deck you're gonna play against. You have to look out for like, is your opponent playing? I think it was they don't play D prisons. They play Book of Moon instead. So look out for Book of Moons, and you know if decrees are coming in or not. And like now I'm actually really glad I'm doing this side. I have this side deck because now I'm prepared for both versions of the deck. So yeah, I thought that was really insane. How it could, again, second time in the tournament where I thought like, am I really about to be knocked out right here? Don't forget, the other time was day one where after losing the feature match, I go into my next round and I lose my game one. This time I'm literally losing game one and about to lose game two. So that was just crazy, and I was so lucky that he didn't have anything for my double Sirocco pump. After that was the finals. I'm sure a lot of people tuned in. Y'all know what happened. Hero Frogs, and we came out with the trophy, with the 3 Kaises, with everything. So yeah, I mean, that was basically everything. I know it's kind of dragged out a while, but if everyone is still listening, I really appreciate everyone. Again, subscribe to Team on the Grind. Go to my channel, check out what I put up there regarding my deck as well, and that's where all my shoutouts are. So if you didn't hear a shoutout here, that's because they're all over there, so check that out. Aside from that, thanks to everyone for watching. Catch y'all guys in the next Team on the Grind deck profile. Let's go.